Hey guys, welcome to today's video. In this video, I pulled up a older model, just a fun little zombie character model that I sculpted a long time ago. But in this case, in this example, what I want to do is maybe take a look at some of the animation features or abilities here in zBrush to create some kind of a simple facial animation or expression. Maybe you're testing out a character and you just want to see some tests, with blend shapes and figure out what kind of expressions you want. So zBrush is pretty cool for that. So what we could do is, in this case, you can see that I don't have any multiple subtools. It's just one layer. And to get him animated, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Layers. And in Layers, you have a few different options. So one of them is just clicking plus. Let's say I want to create a new animation layer. So I'm going to say plus. And by default, it's going to go into record mode. If I say name, I can, I can give my layer a name. Maybe it's a smile, maybe it's yelling, screaming, whatever your expression might be. You can also blend different expressions together. In this case, I'll just do something really simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close his mouth and maybe change the initial expression. Let's say this is the second expression when he goes into a yell. And now I want to do something more neutral, right? Maybe I'm, again, testing out some options, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's jump out of the perspective mode and let's just maybe mask out some parts of our model. If I hold down Control and click, I can smooth this out. I can click outside to flip the mask and then do a little more smoothing here. And let's say I want to close his mouth. So I'm going to grab the move. Let me change my pivot to somewhere here. And I'm just going to close it, right? Maybe I also want to extend it, right? So I'll do something like that. Something really simple. And another thing I can do is, of course, smooth this out. I'm not changing the number of points. So for layers or blend shapes, or I guess morph targets, it's fine to smooth things and sculpt things as long as you're not changing the actual number of points. That can't change if you're doing blend shapes, right? So keep that in mind. That's really important. In this case, I'm just going to maybe close his mouth. And another thing I can do, let me turn my symmetry on. Let me just grab the move brush and maybe create an initial expression that he had before he opened his mouth. All right, so I'll do something like that. If I want to review this, I can click record to stop recording. And now if I start sliding this, you can see what my expression might look like, right? So that's pretty cool. Once you've done this and you are happy, right? How do you actually animate this so you can maybe preview it, right? Maybe you want to show it to somebody and you want to make a little video. So what you could do is you can activate a timeline feature here in zBrush. To do this, just go to Movie and then go to Timeline and then turn on something called Show, the Show button. You can see a little timeline shows up right here. And now what I can do is I can set keyframes for this layer, right? So how does that work? So initially I want him to be have his mouth closed. So I'm going to go to my first keyframe and just click. And when I click, you can see it says camera, right? I don't want that. And drag this down. I don't actually want to set this for camera. I want to set it to my for my zombie. So let me drag this just a little bit to activate my timeline. So I want to make sure that it's actually looking at my layer. So I'm going to come back here one more time and click on it. And now you can see it says layer 0 zombie. So I know that this timeline is actually connected to my layers, right? So that's super important. All right, so that's going to be my first keyframe. So now since we set the first keyframe, let's just go forward a little more. And by the way, when you click on these little dots, it's going to start doing some crazy zoom feature. I'm not sure how useful that is, but that's if you start seeing this move around, that's what that is. But at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move forward just a little bit. And let's come here, for example, and let me set this back to 0, right? So now his mouth is open. And I'm going to click to set another keyframe. Now, if I drag these, you should see some sort of animation. And here I want to have it closed. So I'm going to close it and set a third keyframe. So now I have 3 keyframes. So he's kind of neutral closed. Then he's going to open it up and then close it. All right, so that's cool. So what's the next step? The next step is to set keyframes for your camera. For zBrush to play this automatically, right, it also has to have keyframes set for the camera. So how do I activate the camera timeline? So I'm going to click right here in the empty space. And now you can see that my keys have disappeared. Now if I click again on frame 1, you can see that now I'm setting keys for my camera. And the gray dots are representing the keyframes that we set for our layer, right? The zombie layer. So I'm going to set the first keyframe on my camera on 1. I'm going to go past my gray dots over here, and I can set another one here. And now what we have? We have this small animation of him, again, just simply opening his mouth, right? How do I render this out? Now I can click the BPR button. Now if I wanted to render this out as an BPR animation, right? So it's actually in BPR mode. Just go to movie and make sure that you have a few adjustments. So title image, for example, should be set to 0. Overlay image, I don't have an overlay image, so I'm going to set that to 0. And you can change, you can decide what quality you want. I also want dock. I don't really want the UI stuff in my video. And what I could do once I have all of that, again, make sure you're in BPR, right? BPR is activated. We can even apply some filters. We can go to render. Let's just maybe turn on just a couple of filters just for fun. Just gonna activate like this one. And now you can see what that looks like. Now what I could do is I can hover over this orange marker and press Shift, Control, and click. And that's going to start rendering out. You can see it's going keyframe by keyframe, rendering out our animation in BPR mode as a video. So let's give it a few seconds. Once the animation finishes, if I wanted to preview it, I can go to movie, and if I play the movie, I should see my animation being played out. If I wanted to export it out, of course I can export it out. Now keep in mind, you can also always adjust the timing, right? So if I wanted to adjust the timing, maybe I want this to be a little bit faster, right? For example, let me activate my layer and go to my zombie layer. And what I could do is I can grab these dots, right? And I can just simply move them around. It's going to change the timing of my animation. Maybe I want to have them open, you know, much faster. So I could do that. So you have full control, right? All right, so have fun playing around, setting keyframes. And another thing you wanted, if you wanted to change the camera, if I again click on the camera by selecting my perspective view, you can see that I'm back in the camera timeline. And let's say I want to change maybe the way the camera behaves, right? So instead of just keeping it straight the entire time, maybe I wanted to turn the camera. How do I do that? So to do this, what I could do is I can just click on this key and drag it off, right? I'm going to delete it. And now what I could do is I can change the camera view. Maybe I want to go in the side view. And I'm going to set another keyframe. All right, and now you will see that the camera is actually being animated in addition to the layers being played. So it is possible to set up cool lighting, cool materials, cool BPR renders, cool facial expressions, even camera angles, and play around with animation in zBrush if that's something that you want to play with. All right, thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in our next one.